You'll know when you have a wild woman. She'll practice her craft without boundaries. She is truly autonomous. Her loyalty is only to the family she serves, a midwife who will not allow herself to be held back by a system she didn't create.
This podcast is for the birth keepers who want to grow and change. We are open to learning through self-reflection and supportive community. We are creating this space to explore without judgment. We are remembering we were
Born wild.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Born Wild podcast. I'm your host, Sophia.
And Leah.
Nina's here too.
And Clover. And we'd like to introduce our new student, Angela. Do you want to say a little bit about yourself and how you came into midwifery?
Sure. I'm Angela, and I was a doula for about 10 years. And I started midwifery school during the pandemic when it no longer made sense to work in the hospital setting anymore.
Awesome. And you have two children.
I have two boys. One was born at home in a kind of wild free birth. So
We'll have to hear that story at some point.
Yeah. I was actually listening back to some older versions of the podcast, older episodes. And we say that a lot. We're like, that's going to be its own thing. And then we never do it.
Yeah, we have to make a list. A list of episodes. I feel like we did that at one point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's probably still on my phone.
We had lives.
Yeah. We can do quick check-ins.
Quick check-in.
In air quotes. Yeah. Do you want to start?
Sure. I don't know, I'm trying to think actually.
Because we just did a pretty long check-in.
Let's see. Best thing. Well, my 14-year-old started high school last week, which was big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my pride flame was like probably really loud. But that was really great. And my other one started 7th grade. And then, yesterday I spent 6 straight hours talking to my best friend, who I haven't seen for a while, in this office.
Our new San
Rafael office. So that was just really great. And, just trucking along. I have a mom who's a second timer, who's going to drop her baby like a hot potato. So I'm just kind of got my clothes laid out. And every time my phone rings past 8 p.m., I'm like...
Yeah, mini panic attack.
But
it's usually just me sending you memes.
Yes, but it's usually Nina sending me memes, which is great. Sometimes I'll haze you or you. Just call you at 10 p.m.
I did that. because
we remember the
first birth she missed, her phone wasn't working and she didn't get all the 80 texts or phone calls. And so then I don't remember what it was, but it was later I called her at 10 at night. She's like, hello? I was like, I was just checking.
Yeah,
it was half a ring. Clover's like, hello, I'm ready. I'm in the car.
Nina.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Yeah, it was big week with school starting. My oldest kid started 4th grade, which is just wild. He's 25, so it's just blowing my mind. I've been doing lots of purging this week, which feels really good, and I'm really sore for some reason, strangely.
Physical purging?
Yeah, cleaning and purging and throwing stuff out.
No, I meant
not actual from her body. Not body purging.
Oh,
purging my house physically.
Okay.
She got a new
She's
bed.
that's why you might be
I'm not sore in that way. So that feels really good. And we're just waiting on our mom, and nothing much.
Clover.
What's new with me? Me and Sophia have had a busy August, which has been really fun.
We have no more August moms
We
due.
have no more August moms due, and now we have a bunch of September folks who are all pretty much multips who go early. So we're hoping that just knocks right out. Maybe we'll get a little break.
Yeah, what were you just hoping for? Because you're going to be going away for your birthday. You're like, I hope we have 5 babies in the next week.
I was like, great if she just had 4 more babies. I really want to go to Harbin for my birthday on this upcoming weekend. So I'm trying to make that happen. But yeah, I am going back to the East Bay. That's probably the biggest thing is I'm going back to the East Bay to finish up my births and hope to graduate this December and kind of like power through it. And yeah, I'm really excited. I'm going to be moving back into kind of like my old community that I used to live in with my partner. And yeah, I'm hoping that I'll still like pop up for skills days and get to hang out with and
Better.
because yeah, I'll miss you guys a lot. But I'll still be here for at least another month. And yeah, that's me, Angela.
Yeah, my kids back to school too. My oldest is in his last year of elementary school, so that's kind of bittersweet, and feels like time is going by really fast. But my boys did a yard sale to benefit this charity that they're really passionate about.
Cute.
So they did that on Sunday and raised like $36, and we're super excited. And I guess they sold ice pops. It was cute, and so they were really excited about that. But I'm tired because I did most of the work.
They had air quotes.
Yeah.
So.
Well, my oldest son was so cute because he kept coming out like anytime a customer would come and be like, "We're raising money for Team C's, and with every dollar donated, they take a pound of trash out of the ocean." He had this whole spiel going and was just so into it. It was really cute.
Because how old are they?
11 and 8.
That's cute.
So my 11, well, he'll be 11 on the 31st, so I'll call it for him. But yeah, other than that, I haven't been on call for a while, which feels weird because I've been on call for like 10 years, and it's kind of nice to be able to do things, but I'm looking forward to get attached. I know. I know. So other than that, just kind of live it.
Sophia's check-in would be that we had a surprise breech birth.
Yeah.
It was a real surprise.
It's truly a surprise.
No, they're all surprises, but this is
I really
real,
like that
real.
you just talked about yourself in the third person.
Sophia, what would you like to say?
Sophia's tired.
Yeah, the mom was pushing. It was her first baby, and as what we thought was head coming out, I thought that there was like a little tiny blood clot on the baby's head.
She was also going fast. Like we were like
going
booking
very
it
fast.
to
We
get
were just
there.
like, how can we get this tub filled in time? And so I got a little flashlight and I looked. I was like, that's a butthole. And so I had Clover come over and I pointed it out, and then we motioned to Chelsea. I just kind of was like slapping my butt and pointing at the water. She's like, what's happening?
She's like, do you have to poop?
There's the bathroom. Yeah, like I have to go. You watch the baby.
And then I was like pointing at feet, and so she's like, "Is there
we
butter
were doing
feet?"
like, lots of sign language.
And we were trying not to tell the mama who is actively pushing, like
Yeah.
just to not get her kind of freaked out.
Yeah.
But the dad was behind her in the tub. She was on hands and knees, and we were like, he's gonna get really confused in a second if we don't say something.
Yeah, I let him know because I didn't want him to think that like black tar was being squeezed from his baby's skull, you know?
That's fair.
Yeah.
But he was like, oh yeah, I was really confused what I was looking at. But yeah, so that was really sweet. And they were asking us like, what would have happened if we were at the hospital, because they joined late care. And we were like, you would have had a C-section. So they were really grateful that they were home for their surprise little booty baby. Yeah, what do we want to rant about today?
Well, first.
Oh yes, that's what we want to rant about. I don't think it's a rant.
No, we could rant afterwards, but we've talked about it a little bit on the podcast, but official announcement. Let's talk about ourselves in the third person. I'm like so blushy.
Do you want me to introduce
Introducing.
Could we leave the room and you guys like call us in?
I think we should say it at the same time, like, or do like Born
Wild
Midwifery.
So we're officially doing a group practice. You guys are supposed to cheer.
Yay!
The shame that Nina just experienced.
I think that everyone who's listening is
you.
still confused. So
Yeah. Okay. So after many years of working together and many rants on this podcast and late nights getting punchy.
No
and
tea
talking.
for you.
No more tea.
just a little bit.
Clover's cut off from tea. She's oh my gosh, she's cross-eyed now.
After, just talking at births and on the podcast, and just like, how do we make this sustainable for ourselves and serving clients, and what would it look like to have a joint practice or a group practice? How could we do it and still like be true to, how we want to serve families, and then also like take time for ourselves and realize that we're human beings and we're not machines, and that really it serves families more to have midwives who aren't burnt out.
Yeah, but how can we also like hold on to the things that we love about our practices?
Yeah, and I feel like in the last year we had, I don't know, we talked about it before, but like just experiences where I needed you to cover for me for like more appointments than births. I don't want to cover for births, but and just that feeling of like, I trust you implicitly to go and care for my families. Like the advice that you would give, the way that you would hold space, like all of that was just, I just felt so comfortable. And I was like, okay, like I think it's a point where.
But the idea that even if we like work together, that we would still be like going to all the births together, assisting each other. So the real like heroes of the story are the students, because we're both in a point in our careers where we're taking on students, and our students are really experienced, and we both feel really confident if the student wasn't like super solid, like that. We feel really good in our skill sets. But so we are going to be sharing care. We're going to be seeing clients together for initials, seeing clients together for like birth team meetings, and then alternating appointments. We have offices. We also do home visits. It just depends on what the clients want. And so they'll be seeing each team. And so they'll know us the same, and then we'll share an on-call schedule. So if I want to go camping on the weekend with my family, I can do that. And if I'm not feeling so hot, I can like take some time off. And for anyone who's in the birth world listening to this, how it's going to work is like, say, for example, I want to take a week off and go, Disneyland or whatever. Then Leah will look at the schedule and she will just schedule in a week off. So it will always be like, quote unquote, fair,
Yeah, like at the time someone's taking like, I want this time off, the other person will just do it at that time, rather than being like, sure, at some point I'll need it or whatever.
And then we forget,
I like that. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, but we'll have like a set schedule where like I'm on call for these days, you're on call for these days, and if we need to, we can switch it up or take longer calls.
Some flexibility. Or like, one of our kids is graduating, or whatever it is, just like even if it's like for a day. But and all of our like students who are in the primary phase of school, they have all the training behind them to be like birth assistants. So with any midwife they could go, they're all have the same neonatal resuscitation training and CPR. And what's great about it is that I think most of our students, Clover's leaving, but like with Nina, she apprenticed a little bit with another midwife, but for the most part, like she's been my right hand forever. So like she knows my bag and where everything is. And like, if I say, let's do an IV, she just like knows what to get and lay out. And it's, and it's great. So it's almost that I think it's better. It's more helpful for me than having another midwife who I haven't worked with or haven't worked with very much assist me.
And also in terms of the idea like that you hire a midwife and you know who it is who's going to be at your birth, it's going to be similar because you'll know both of us. But the idea that I always have a backup in case I'm sick or something happens with my kids, but theoretically they'll probably never meet my backup. So if I really needed them, if I had two moms in labor at the same time or I was sick, I would be sending somebody that they didn't really know. Obviously, always my student would go, so there's some continuity there, but it would be an unfamiliar person. And so this way, they'll know the backup. Like if something happened to me, then Leah would go, and they know Leah just as well as me.
And if we have a mom who's in labor and it's our day on call, and we're going, but we have other moms due around that time, like unless you're out of town or something, I might just send you a text and be like, hey, blah blah blah's in labor. If the other person goes, are you just so you know, you're on deck. And like,
Mm-hmm.
we sort of, and we're just going to see how it goes and play around with it. But like, if I'm around, I'll be like, okay,
Yeah.
so I'm back up now. Like
Yeah.
I'm sort of on call for that other person.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I just think it's going to flow. And we're both at a point where we have enough clients that combining makes sense.
Yeah, because that was the thing we were kind of waiting on. One, for me to like catch up, and feel like really, but there was a time where I was like, I
Sure.
need you, Leah, like just in case
Yeah.
I like don't have the experience to handle this and I don't feel that way anymore.
Yeah.
And so we both have like feel on par with each other,
Mhm.
and we're both able to take students, and so that was kind of what I think what we were waiting for. And making sure that we both are like practicing really similar, because it
Mhm.
wouldn't really work if you have two extremes,
Yeah.
where people are like, oh, but I resonated more with this midwife than that midwife, So, and I've sent you, when my son was in the hospital, I sent you to go check on a mom
Mhm.
prenatally. And afterwards I was chatting with her, and you were like, oh my gosh, she's so sweet. And she was like raving about you, like,
Mhm.
Leah's so great. And I was like, that's really good to hear, because we're going to do this group practice together. And she's like, you picked the right person. She's like, you
Aw,
guys
that's
are
nice.
like a good match for each
Yeah.
other. So I was like, okay, good. That's really reassuring to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard birth stories on like podcasts where, and it's usually with people who are processing a birth that it didn't go the way they wanted, which just happens sometimes. But it was situations where like a backup midwife came, and again, a midwife they hadn't met before, because it's, we hardly ever have that happen.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like babies,
You just
are
have to plan
kind,
for it.
but we planned for it, and this happened, and the midwife that came just was like, she had said she didn't want vaginal exams, and this midwife like was kind of like, okay, just
Mhm.
like had a different practice style.
Mhm.
And so it was upsetting
Yeah.
for them, and they felt kind of like, so I just really like that regardless of who comes, that it's going to be a real continuity of like practices. And yeah, so I don't know, do we want to walk through like just quickly what it would look like if someone hired us, like
Sure.
how, so we have a day of the week we do interviews,
Mhm.
consultations.
Yeah. Mondays are like our office day where
Yeah.
we're restocking and doing all that. And so we're together. And then those are the days we're going to do our appointments that are going to be like together.
Like interviews in person. And if people need more flexibility because life is life, we can do Zoom. So we can do Zoom interviews, which I like. I never would have thought that would be something I would like.
She was really resistant.
But since COVID and so much is online and with Zoom, like it's actually really great. And I feel like everybody's comfortable in their house. And, and then if after that people feel strongly like, I really want to work with you guys, but I just would love to sit down in person.
Mhm.
We can do that on a Monday or whatever. So families sign up with us. We do an initial visit at their house. Both Sophia and I go. Go over medical history, all that stuff that's part of an initial visit, which is usually, it is longer than a typical prenatal. And we're like meeting the family and just like kind of getting established in care. And then for the remaining prenatals, you'll go, like they would go to the office closest to them. So like the San Rafael office is for Marin, East Bay, San Francisco, kind of the like southern, I guess that's South Bay. Southern Marin, kind of general, my hood.
Yeah.
My neck of the woods.
We have a midwife in each county.
And it's right off 101. It's like 4 minutes. And so it's really
so close.
great.
I went right past it. I was like, shoot, I got to turn around.
Yeah, it's really convenient for people just to, Sausalito, just hop on 101. So, and then families that live North Bay, like Petaluma, Santa Rosa, Sebastopol, we have a Petaluma office.
Yes. Yeah.
And
for those who are wanting all home visits, that is an option that they can add on. It basically just helps us with a tiny bit of gas.
And then, so let's see. So, and then we'll alternate visits. You always go to the office closest to you. If you live in Petaluma, you'll always go to the Petaluma office. But one time you'll see Sophia, the next visit you'll see me, so that you really get a sense of being comfortable and like trusting of us during prenatal care. 36-week visit will be at the home again, and we'll do the birth team meeting. And then the last month of visits are going to be at the office. I think if people go really past dates, we might start doing some home visits, but it's kind of up in we're sort of like figuring that out. And then all the postpartum visits will be at home. Potentially the 6-week visit we might do at the office, but we sort of are like going to feel out what people are wanting.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
And just to clarify, because we are like relying on students heavily, we are paying them very well.
Yes, and we've talked about that on many podcasts, but it's definitely like it's a team, and we value our students, and I mean they're compensated the way that any licensed midwife would be compensated to assist us at births.
Yeah, and I know because a lot of birth workers listen to this. Just for like full transparency, we're in Sonoma County, Marin County, Bay Area. So, you know, look at those housing prices and you know the area we're in. But we charge $8,000 for birth, and we are paying our students $1,000. So if anyone's trying to like figure out how to emulate something similar, we'll keep you posted how that's working. But just to help everybody be able to afford to live here.
Yeah, totally. And that's like the $1,000 is if you're replacing a midwife.
Yeah,
like
but
in lieu of another midwife.
They are the main assist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And if they're, if we like when Nina graduates very soon, and is stepping more into the role of being the primary midwife, if we have a newer student like Angela, we would have another midwife there. Angela wouldn't be the primary assist, but she would still be compensated to come to the birth, and and just like we all work really well as a team at birth, and like nobody's above like cleaning up. But
I actually love it. It's my favorite part.
Well, when I was pregnant, it made me feel a lot better to pay Nina because I like having her break down break down the birth tub or like carry bags out to the car. Like I didn't want to be an asshole, excuse my language. The explicit.
I put that on all of us just in case.
Nice. But yeah, it just felt good to be like, these are good skills to learn, and it's work, so even if you're not you're not the assistant midwife in that role, like you're still being compensated for the work that you're doing.
And we think how it's going to work for students. It's kind of up to them. They can do whatever they want, but it sounds like this is the thing that they've decided would be best, is that they're going to, like Leah and I will have certain days we're on call, and that will be semi-set, but that the students will rotate being on call. So say Leah's on call and somebody goes into labor and she goes to the birth and Nina goes with her, regardless of whether Leah or I go to the next birth, Clover would go with. So they will take turns so that it doesn't end up being a month where like the student went to 4 births and somebody only got 1. That they'll have an equal amount of opportunity for income and for experience, and also potentially like getting a chance to switch off between working with Leah and I. Because even though we practice very similar, there's differences, and it's nice to be able to learn from 2 different midwives, but in one practice.
Yeah, because we want to have sustainable lives and practices ourselves, but we also like want students to have a sustainable way to like get experience, and we want to support that.
I remember when we were students, we're like, we can't forget what this is like. We have to hold on to that. We can't be those midwives that are like, oh, well, it was hard for me, so it could be hard for you. Like, no. What didn't work for me? We don't want to pass that on because like we suffered through. We want to like make it better.
And just when possible, having students who are parents and have like just making it accessible for people who aren't 25 without children,
which is so much easier if anyone's listening. Like, hold on,
we're not discriminating,
but that it's accessible.
It's a barrier to finishing school for sure, and a lot of practices are not set up to accommodate that, and it's not, it's just hard. It's hard to like have a small practice and be able to afford that and all those things, but we want more midwives.
Yeah, I was just looking at something, I think it was on a podcast, and they were talking about how they tried to email, like send out, it was Indie Birth. They were talking about how they were trying to send out emails to like all the CPMs across the country, like trying to like basically create like a all CPM email list.
Wow.
And they got to 1,500 CPMs. They couldn't find anyone else. And they were like, we think more or less like maybe give or take 100 or 200, like that's how many CPMs and licensed midwives there are in the country. And they were including people who practice like not licensed and like more traditional midwifery. So I was like, geez Louise, like that was shocking to me. I guess I knew that it was a small amount of midwives, but that is just so tiny.
And that's like actively practicing or
Half of
all
them are in
time?
the Bay.
Yeah, like half of them are in the Bay Area. Yeah, like actively practicing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people live in the United States? Like 300 million? Yeah.
I don't know, 2%.
I just always feel like the more of us, the more information's in the community, and the more like.
Yeah, because I
It's
think
out there.
Sonoma County is like, it's 3% of births are home birth. And I know Mendocino is like the highest of California at like 6%. So that's still like, even if it went up to 20%, like there's no way we could help all these families.
Yeah.
Like we need more midwives, you know?
Yeah.
And hopefully it does keep growing, you know?
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, we have to keep spreading the good word.
Uh-oh,
Who's in trouble?
It's my alarm. I even
Clover's
have to
been-
not to start
Clover's
on.
been fired a lot lately.
I got fired 3 times last week.
Just for the record, we're always kidding when we say it.
Yeah.
Ironically, that was
I
my
mean-
module time alarm.
Okay, good girl. Any comments from you three were there?
Yeah.
Like in terms of like
Thoughts?
questions on clarification on how certain things will work, or the things that you are glad about or wish would be a little different, or
I just think it's really exciting, and I'm like in this phase probably similar to Nina, where I'm like really close to finishing and starting to like really think about what like post midwifery school life will look like. And so it's just nice and inspiring to know that there's lots of options for people trying different things. And I think like I feel like there's this hesitancy to have a group practice structure like this that depends on students as the sole assist, but I think it makes so much sense, especially when you have students who are about to graduate who are like basically done, they know all this stuff. I think it just kind of like flies in the face of an old model where there's always 2 licensed people and people are really attached to that. And it's interesting to me because even in a lot of those practices that I've seen in the East Bay where they're paying a licensed midwife, they're paying the licensed midwife like not that great. And I know you guys have talked about that on the podcast. And so like having a structure where it's dependable and reliable for students to keep coming to births and for you guys to feel supported and knowing that you're going to have someone that you like really trust and that you trained. I think that makes such a big difference for it to be like a unit.
yeah.
So I'm really into it, and I hope that other midwives who are listening like take inspiration from that and are maybe more willing to consider that model, because yeah, I think the biggest problem in midwifery is burnout.
Yeah. And I see that sometimes with like the older generation of midwives where they are calling on another midwife and you can just tell that midwife does not want to get out of bed for $500, you know, and they're just like, there's this resistance and they're not really like excited. They're more just like doing the other midwife a solid because then she'll do it for her. And whereas with the student is like stoked to go to a birth,
Totally.
super excited to be getting paid for it. Like regardless, like 500 would probably be amazing, but like to get 1,000 is like, yee, you know, and they get to see a birth. Like, yeah. So it just is a
Yeah,
win-win.
and there are midwives who, because of whatever circumstance, can like blow through school and have gone to like just enough births to get their license and whatever, and that's like really great for them. And there's students who like were students for 8 years or whatever,
Nina's hand goes up.
you know, because whatever reason. And so like in my opinion, they're more experienced than maybe a brand new licensed midwife. But yeah, and I think that the continuity too of like for families when they've met the student for all like, you know, a lot of their visits, if not all of them, and then assist midwives kind of show up while you're pushing and it's fine. It's a model that works. But I think that it's really nice to have the student be there almost like the whole time with you.
Yeah.
It's not
Relationship
just like, and we all try to be like really quiet and stuff when we come in, but it is like a new person in the room.
Yeah.
So
we can spell each other in a way that's different than someone who's just coming right at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
nice.
That was another thing we had talked about is when you're at a really long birth, and if we're being honest, you say a lot, Leah, that you're like, we're not the same midwife on day 2 or day 3 than we were when we first showed up. And to be able to reach out to your partner and be like, I can feel myself shifting and I need to call in some reserves. Are you available? Or it might just work in the week where it's like, okay, now I'm on call and you go home.
Yeah. Can you take call? Because I just had a long birth.
Yeah. And so, and that way too, afterwards, like the idea, has anyone ever left a birth knowing somebody else is warming up and you just want to cry, but like knowing you could go home and sleep and that you're not on call and somebody else
and
is
how
going.
for that woman who's warming up, a fresh rested midwife.
That you don't have a midwife like dreading going to the birth because she's so tired.
Right. Or just like, whatever happened at that last birth, like we try to leave everything at the door, but when it just happened, like it's in your body, so
And that really works well with the student because we can do the same thing and alternate with the other students.
Yes,
every
exactly.
other birth.
Yeah.
So a lot more sustainable too for us.
Yeah, and I think that we've talked about this a little bit before, but like hypothetically, like a question that I have is, so like say Nina graduates and then she's assisting and doing that role. And then at some point, like you probably start to want to take your own primary clients, and hypothetically the practice can just grow to include that, and then you would assist Nina. Is that kind of like the thought? Or
that's kind of what we had talked about, something like that.
Yeah, and if there isn't a student who's at the point in their training that we feel like we can assist them, like Nina would be the first midwife that I would ask to be the assistant at our births. And then she starts getting her own clients, then she starts doing that, and then we could potentially assist her unless she wants, whatever.
For a while, I mean, I really like the idea of doing like shared care too until I feel really confident. It's nice to have someone who's there with me in case I feel a little insecure about doing an IV or just need some support. So having like a more shared care model for a year or two or something like that.
Yeah, and it could be something where whoever is on call is just the one that you would call.
I honestly, not to be like so dramatic, but I honestly feel like it's really revolutionary. Like I think that you guys should have like a talk at a midwifery conference or like do some presentations.
Welcome to our podcast.
We'll see how it goes. Sophia and I are still speaking to each other.
Yeah, we're like, hey, remember episode 61? Don't do that.
Yeah.
Scratch that.
Well, and I feel like we could go on and on, but like the other piece of it too, I don't know, maybe we should. I mean, we like
do a TED Talk?
Go on and on.
Really? I mean, both.
Well, I think it would be helpful for us to see if this works.
This is the TED Radio Hour.
I assume the first year is going to be tweaking things and like, oh, that wasn't as smooth as we thought. Like, let's,
I think what I was going to say is you and I are, I think, being smart about like still keeping our websites going, our separate websites. And like, as long as, things are going the way we hope, like, even if they reach out to our individual websites, we're going to bring them to the other one. But like, we're still keeping our own businesses. We're like,
we have a breakup plan.
We have a breakup plan.
And we did that with the podcast too. I remember one of the first questions I said to you and Emma was like, so if we get divorced, who gets to keep the baby? And you guys were like, why are we talking about that? I'm like, because I want to know. I want to know now while we still love each other,
Yeah.
But it's like, it's just good to talk about it.
Decisions.
Yeah,
Things are good to protect you and things are bad.
Yeah. I think part of why we do want to do this is that we both try to come from a place of like curiosity and like, let's try this. How does this work? Okay, no, let's try this. So like, we're going to try it. And I feel really good about it. And I invested a lot in office furniture.
It's a beautiful.
But I do like
worth
it. But yeah, no, I feel good about it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
It's just us being proud of ourselves.
But if anyone does have questions about maybe how a certain situation would work out, or how we would handle money in that situation, or anything, let us know and we will answer.
Yeah.
And we'll update people as we go along, what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun to do a poll to see like who are our listeners, because I imagine that I know that a lot of them are birth workers and like student midwives that I know personally, and I know they listen to the podcast, and I know that families listen to the podcast, especially for all those birth stories. But yeah, it'd be cool to see the breakdown.
Yeah.
So that we could kind of give more information for certain people.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's see.
Oh, we need a website designer.
Yes.
So
We're looking
Come to
for
us.
that.
come to us if you know someone fabulous who has experience with birth worker websites and can do WordPress. Yes. Preferably who's pregnant and wants to trade. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, are we done?
Sounds good. I think so.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good week.
See you next time.
Thanks everybody for listening. You can find us at Born Wild Podcast on Instagram. For inquiries or feedback, you can email us at bornwildpodcast@gmail.com. You can find me, Emma Ray, on Instagram at Emma Ray, REA. Sophia at sophiabirth.com.
And me, Leah, at Bay Area Home Birth.
We would really appreciate it if you would rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. It helps us reach more people. And as always, stay wild.